Hello, I am David Cade, the CEO of the American Health Law Association. Each year, the Board of Directors approves a slate of esteemed individuals selected by the Fellows Coordinating Council as AHLA Fellows. These longtime members have shown a commitment to the association through their participation as speakers, authors, mentors, and leaders. They are regarded as one of the top health law professionals in the legal community, and all have been actively practicing for 15 or more years. While the bios for these new fellows are posted on AHLA's website, it is just a snapshot of their many accomplishments. I want to give you the chance to hear from them personally and learn more about why they deserve the Fellows honor. The 2024 Fellows class includes 4 exceptional individuals. Today, I have the distinct honor to be speaking with Robert Pelaia. Robert, how are you doing today?
Good morning, David. It's my honor as well. I've been called many things in life, and I think that's the first time I've been deemed esteemed. So I'm very honored. Thank you.
Well, it is truly an honor and an opportunity for me to congratulate you on being selected as an AHLA Fellow. I'm honored to having known you, and I know the honor you've earned it. You wear the cloud very well.
Thank you. Thank you.
So I'm going to invite you to take a couple of steps back and allow the listening audience to hear, why did you go to law school and why did you select health law as a profession?
Okay, so I anticipate that you probably hear this from lawyers very frequently, but I knew at a very young age where my strengths were and where they weren't. And I knew it wasn't math, right? I can't do math, even simple math. And I tried career-wise to go for an MBA, and I started that process and I said, oh, no. I'm not doing this. I need to find a career where I could use my words and my strengths. So I had 10 years between graduating from college and graduating from law school. So there's a lot of space in between for me to try to figure out where I was going to go. And I eased into this law thing slowly to test the waters and see if I thought it was going to work for me. And ultimately, right, it did. And the health law thing, in all honesty, you know, when you were doing your schedule way back when, you charted out on a piece of paper where your class blocks are. I had this opening on like Tuesdays and Thursdays between X and Y times, and I needed to fill it with something. So I went down the list and I said, oh, health law, okay, just pop it in there. I had no idea what this was. And so I went to Seton Hall Law School, and now they have a very robust health law policy program, right? But back then, in 1992 or 1993, it was just beginning, and they had this one class, and I took it just because it fit into a particular block on my schedule. And I'm sitting in this class and I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. Like, this is really diverse. It's like this health law umbrella, but underneath it, you've got all of these different tangents where all these other things come in. And I actually found it quite interesting, right? So I had an opportunity, because they were just starting up this program after I took that class, and it was taught by Kathleen Buzang, right, who's another one of your former board members, right, at Seton Hall, who was phenomenal, right? She was starting this externship, and she's like, hey, would you be interested in doing this externship at a hospital in New Jersey, right? You know, spend the summer shadowing in-house counsel, blah, blah, blah. And I went and I did this, and I was like, okay, this is really fascinating, right? The diversity of the issues that hits this office on a daily basis is just fascinating to me. And it all kind of evolved from there for the health law thing. It kind of started out as happenstance and then kind of really evolved into something that just interests me intellectually. So.
Well, one of the things we hear from many folks is the journey is long. It's not always predictable.
Right.
Sometimes folks out of circumstance find their way there. And I know for us at the association and for the health law community generally, we're all the better for it. And so, you know, still sort of thinking in our past, as you understand your journey, what do you wish you knew when you were a law student?
Well, you know, I think I was a little older than my peers at the time that I went to law school. And I guess the only thing at that point in time I was focused on was getting it over with and getting through the process of law school. Because I was working full time, I was married, I had a kid, I had a mortgage, I had a life, I had all these other responsibilities, and I was just, spending I went evenings for 4 years, right? So it took a while to get through, and maybe perhaps just the opportunity to slow down and enjoy the ride a little bit more than just reaching for the destination at the end.
Yeah. I know there are many who don't matriculate directly from undergrad into law school. And you're right. I think one of the powerful messages that you're sharing, folks, is enjoy the ride. And I would say, given your response to the first question, you did enjoy the ride. You took advantage of opportunities that were made available to you, still focusing on learning more and taking advantage as Kathleen shared that great opportunity with you. So that's a great piece of advice for folks. Enjoy the ride, I guess, would be one of your also give backs to folks. If you were sort of giving advice to a younger version of you, Robert, that, take time to enjoy the ride. You felt, I guess, that you were a little rushed to just finish it.
Yeah, well, and the other thing, as far as giving advice, and I was just reminded of this very recently, and there's all different variations of the school of thought in this quote, but I was in a situation where someone reminded me of a quote that is very frequently attributed to Salvador Dali, which is something like, have no fear of perfection because you'll never reach it, right? And you hear that articulated in many different ways, like don't let a quest for perfection stand in the way of really good work, that sort of thing. And just trusting your instinct. You've got this is right. Hit the send button, put it in the mail, file it, whatever it is that you have to do. Have confidence in your ability that you're doing really good work, and don't fret again that the small stuff, right? If you missed a comma here or whatever, but this quest for making sure everything's absolutely perfect, you're just going to drive yourself crazy.
Good advice, I think, for not only the profession but the students as well. You're right. The enemy being what, as they say, of the good.
Yeah. All different variations of the same quote. Yeah.
So, Robert, as you think back on your esteemed career,
stop it.
What has been the accomplishment you are most proud of, and why?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna pivot just slightly on that question because from a personal perspective, I have been married to my best friend and the love of my life for 36 years. And my wife, Judy, is just spectacular. And our family is amazing. And I'm such a lucky man, right, to have that and to have 3 wonderful children. My son, Griffin, and my daughter, Tess, and her husband, Ben, and my daughter, Greer, and her wife, Rachel. I'm surrounded by phenomenal family and love, and am so fortunate to have that. And in my view, that's really what absolutely comes first, right? So that family and that closeness and that love and that togetherness is clearly what I'm most proud of.
And as well, you should be. It sounds like a beautiful wife and a beautiful family.
Yeah.
Worthy of great pride.
Yeah.
Dad.
Yeah. I'm a lucky man.
Yes. I oftentimes, I'm sure you get this question a lot, and so we're going to capture it here. I'm sure when you engage with folks and who are matriculating through their journey and their careers, what are the traits you feel are most important in being an effective health lawyer?
So, I think it's not necessarily just a health lawyer, right? Just maybe being effective in kind of any career in a professional setting, right? Is number one, just being respectful of the people that you work with and their views and their ideas, and listening to other people and their views and their ideas, and just being willing to listen to others and just be in that moment, right? And I see so frequently, because I work in an academic setting, I'm interacting with students and residents, all the time, right? And sometimes people are just so laser focused on something, again, that they're not taking the time to listen to what's being said, and they're just thinking about the next thing that they're going to say in that situation. And, you know, it's clear sometimes when you're in those settings, you can even tell when you're interviewing someone for a position, right? If they're listening to what you're saying or what you're asking, or if they're just, even in this setting, you know, I'm listening to what you're saying, I'm reacting, I'm saying, you know, back and forth. But just that sense of openness and communication and acceptance in the workplace really is vital to any lawyers or any career, really.
Yes, listening, listening, listening.
I'm sorry, what?
No. Yeah, I'm sure you encounter a lot of the challenges, as you said, in the workplace.
Well, there's these generational differences in how we learn as well, right? So I learned a certain way, you learned a certain way. We used books and we went to, well, I'm assuming of your age, right? I would never be so presumptuous, right? But as for me, right, I was in a library, I was in a book. You remember those Shepherd's books? You actually had to get them down.
Sure do.
You had to, you know, and today's learners are very, very different. And that's not a bad thing, but it's a different thing. And I need to put myself to try and understand why and how they learn, how they think, how they process information, right? Because they do it very, very differently than the way I do. My kids as well. The whole next generation coming up, right? It's a completely different way of thinking, completely different way of learning, completely different way of teaching.
Yeah. But nothing will replace the art of being a good listener.
There you go.
I'm with you. So, hey, Robert, did you have a mentor throughout your journey?
So remember earlier I mentioned to you that when I was in law school, I did the externship at, so the woman who was the general counsel, her name is Alice Gutler, and she was a health law association member for a very long time. And she was incredibly inspirational to watch and to learn from, both on a professional and a personal basis. I mean, just brilliant. Just watching her deal with all these issues that came her way while she was in this forum, and then becoming such dear friends with her over the past 30 years, still in contact with her, just watching her travels and I mean, just very, very inspirational. And she was the one who used to work at the law firm where I ultimately got my first job in the health law field, who said, hey, you know, Robert, I think you're really good at this. I think this would really be good for you. How about if I send your resume over and, you know, who knows what's going to happen, and just set my career on a trajectory that never would have happened but for her inspiration and her intervention. So yeah, absolutely. And, you know, I do try to a certain extent to pay that forward when I have students reaching out to me. And I've taught a couple of classes at, law schools here in Florida, just trying to get in health law classes, right? And I frequently have students coming to me saying, hey, if I want a career in health law, how do I do that? How did you do that, right? Because it's such a niche area. And how can I make myself distinguished from somebody else who wants to be in the health law field? So I was fortunate enough to really have that, and then hopefully be able to do that for others, right, moving forward.
Well, in that regard, but let me ask it this way. I'll start it this way. Why did you join AHLA?
Well, just to clarify that question, and I have a little bit of history here. I don't know if you could see this. Do you see this bag?
Yes.
This bag has been sitting in my garage for 27 years.
Oh,
I believe I originally joined the NHLA, not the AHLA, before it merged with the AAHA, right? But I just saw this in my garage the other day and said, ooh, I got to bring that back, because maybe if they have like a somewhere where they keep heirlooms for the AHLA, they want this bag back, right? I don't know. But when I first started in private practice, at FC Becker and Green, it wasn't an option. You know, we were joining and we were encouraged to, you know, participate and go to meetings and contribute and write and attend. And it was never an option.
Well, first of all, I love the bag. Please send me a picture. I would love to. I think I have some good uses for it. It helps chronicle our history.
Right.
And the fact that you have it after all these years
Right.
is a testament to what it meant to you back then.
There you go, right?
Yes. So please send it. That would be great. You know, and your reference to your early in your career joining and the firm is saying, yes, you must join. If you were talking to a new AHLA member, you know, what would you tell them on how to get involved in AHLA?
I would tell them that they really shouldn't be intimidated in any way, and that when leaders in this organization encourage volunteerism and encourage participation, they really do mean it, and they're not just saying it for the sake of saying it, and that there are ways to ease yourself in through practice groups or writing an article. I mean, you don't have to jump in feet first. You could test the waters. You could find the area that works for you. You know, mine happened to be that I enjoy speaking, and I have a little niche background area with the things I do in the medical coding environment, which led to a host of speaking opportunities. And when I was looking back and I actually counted, it was like 42 times I've done presentations at AHLA Association meetings, and that's a lot, right, over all these years. But my point is, you find your area, you find your strengths, and there'll be opportunities to use them within this organization. And start with the mentor program. I mean, there's all of these ways to get involved and do things. And the people looking for volunteers and looking for participation really want input, and they want new members, and they want, you know, it's a great opportunity. And don't be intimidated, and don't be worried, and don't think that you don't have the knowledge or the background to do it, because you do, and you'll be welcome.
Oh, no, that's great advice. And it sounds like that perhaps the in-person conferences, in fact, might be perhaps one of the most important benefits to AHLA. But I don't want to put words in your mouth. You've had a great career and been a great leader for the association. So what would you say is the most important benefit?
Well, I think the collegiality and the networking, right? And that flows a lot from a lot of those in-person meetings, right? Because I do remember the first one that I went to, I think I was working maybe a month tops. And I got in the car with one of the partners, and we drove to Baltimore to go to the Medicare Medicaid Institute. And I was sitting in these sessions saying, I have no idea what these people are talking about. I do now, I didn't then. But so the learning, right? The learning opportunities are there. The networking opportunities are there. And you've got such a vast array of topic specialty, you know, conferences and networking events and online. I mean, you have all of that, right? So regardless really of which niche area you're in within health law, like mine's really academic medicine, higher education, you know, that sort of thing, there's opportunities to network and learn. And I mean, it's priceless. Honestly, it's priceless.
That is great. So amidst all the hard work, the teaching and everything you do, what do you do for fun? How do you decompress from the heavy workload that you have?
Well, those are two different things, decompressing and having fun. So one of the things I do is I perform in community theater. So that's my creative outlet. I do enjoy being on stage. I do enjoy performing. I'm very comfortable like in front of an audience, right? Which kind of lends itself to where I found my opportunity to do these speaking engagements, because I am never at a loss for words ever, right? And, you know, I jokingly say to my wife all the time, you know, I really shy away. I don't like to be the center of attention, when indeed, I think everyone who knows me knows that that's not true at all. But so I do community theater and I play pickleball. So I've been playing pickleball for quite a while now, before it was so hip and trendy and being taken over by young players and millennials and all that sort of thing. And it was intended to be for old people like me. But if you haven't tried it, David, you should try it, because it's really a lot of fun, and it's okay on my 60-year-old knees and elbows. So
that's the real question. Is it okay on your knees?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. If you're playing it right, yes. Some of the younger players are slamming the ball, running all over the place. And then I get I have to use the right terms. I get beaten quite badly by, you know, an 85-year-old, right? because they know how to play the game, right? They're standing where they need to stand. They're not running all over the place. They're just thinking the ball. They're doing their thing, and they beat me because I'm trying too hard ultimately. But it's a great sport. It's a lot of fun, and pickleball courts are taking over tennis courts all over our area. I don't know about your area, but it's extremely popular.
They are, and I'm gonna make a commitment to you. I'm gonna try it. It's been on the list. I haven't yet done it, but I am gonna try it, and I'm gonna do it.
Well, you
The
come
old
on down
man.
to Tampa. You come on down to Tampa. I'll be happy to show you the ins and outs of pickleball. Not a problem.
I will take you up on that. I will
But
take.
but wait though. But so what do you do for fun?
Well, it's not yet pickleball. I I I I fancy hitting the golf ball.
Okay.
It, um, and now that the weather is a little bit warmer, and I've kind of sadly taken the old man time off, I like to ride the bike. I like to
Okay.
be there. Not quite the cyclist I used to be, but I do enjoy, of course, the wind in my hair, to be kind of riding through the neighborhood. And
Do you clip in or do you ride? Do
I
you clip
clip
in?
in. I clip in.
Yeah, I clip in too.
It's I have had a few falls along the way
Uh-huh.
to get the foot out
Right.
fast enough, but I love the extra power you get
All
when
right.
you lift in.
Yeah, it's great. That's great. Well, thank you.
Robert, my friend, it has been truly a pleasure to kind of catch up with you. It's been far too long, and I am excited that you've been selected to be an AHLA Fellow. So congratulations again.
It's my honor. Thank you very much for your time. It's great chatting with you. Thank you, David. Are they turning